The summer LEGO releases included a lot of really interesting sets, and one of them at the top of my list was this one right here, the Temple Bounty. Now this follows in a long lineage of great Ninjago ships, and coming with 2,387 pieces and 6 minifigs for $200, this has the potential to be an incredible set. So in this independent review, we are going to break down some of the details of the set, the minifigs, the sweet building techniques, and I'm going to show you what it looks like next to some of the Ninjago city sets, as well as an old classic pirate ship to see how it looks. So let's dive on in. The box shows the Temple Bounty sailing in misty seas with a full moon in the background. The set's 6 minifigs are depicted in the bottom right-hand corner amidst a red border. The back of the box shows the ship at a slightly different angle, some more detailed interior pictures, its modularity, and some play features. Inside are 17 numbered bags and 2 paper pouches. The larger one has the instructions and a surprisingly small sticker sheet. The other contains 5 cloth sails, which are less papery than the old school sails that I grew up with back in the 80s and 90s. There is only one instruction manual, which is a bit disappointing if you're looking for an unplugged family building experience. The page backgrounds are grayish white, and there are no real interesting facts or tidbits like you normally would see in an 18+ set, which makes sense since this is a 14+ set. The 6 minifigs included are Zane, Cole, Wildfire, Naya, Rogue, and Zark, all characters from the Ninjago Dragons Rising show, and in particular Season 3. Zane, Cole, and Naya are old Ninjago main characters, while Wildfire is a newer main character. Zark is a villain from Season 3, while Rogue is a bounty hunter that used to be Jay, one of the old main characters. Zane features a white tunic with a medium azure trim. He has a gold belt, and his legs are printed with a dark red and gold sash, along with some sandals. His pearl gold shoulder armor with a white scarf is a dual molded piece that has room for 2 katanas on the back and a dragon shape on the right shoulder. All 3 of these pieces are new to this set. Cole also features a new torso, legs, and shoulder armor piece. The black scarf partially obscures the dark silver armor on his back tunic, although the orange pops rather nicely. His legs also have a dark red and pearl gold sash, along with knee pads and sandals. Likewise, Naya has newly decorated pieces, with her scarf being dark azure and covering some of her pearl dark blade tunic. Again, she has a dark red and pearl gold sash, knee pads, and sandals printed on her leg piece. This version of Rogue also appears in the Dragonian Storm Village set from this year, and features a dark blue conical Asian straw hat, scowled face, dark blue bandana, dark blue tunic with gold trim, a dark red and pearl gold sash on his legs, along with knee pads and sandals. His shoulder armor is more meager, although it does still have room for 2 katanas on his back. Wildfire is even more common than Rogue, appearing in 5 sets this year with this particular ensemble: her red hair, dark red tunic, and orange shirt. She has an orange sash with red knee pads and sandals. On her back is an orange flame and a face, and I particularly enjoy that part of the minifig. Zark, an anthropomorphic wolf, has a Ronangasa hat with a narrow slit through which you can see his red eyes. You can't see the rest of his face unless you remove the hat, but the dark purple markings and gold fangs are pretty cool. He has dark green robes with lots of dark purple strands and gold chains that crisscross his entire outfit. With 4 new minifigs, 6 with lots of printing, and this dual molded shoulder armor and scarf piece, these minifigs are definitely high quality. However, the drawback is, of course, there are only 6 of them in a $200 set. And I think that reveals the trade-off that you're going to see in LEGO sets when it comes to minifigs. If you see lots of details, you'll see fewer minifigs. If you see more minifigs, you'll see less details. So there really is that trade-off that LEGO is looking at when they are making these sets. All told, I don't mind the 6 minifigs, although it does make the ship feel a little bit bare in terms of the crew that's on board. This build was fantastic. If you've ever wanted to build a ship purely out of bricks without the prefabricated hull pieces or the mast pieces, this is a delight. You might think that such a set would have a ton of Technic pieces, but this really doesn't. There is a beam running through the bottom of the hull, but almost the rest of the hull and living quarters are all just regular normal pieces. The masts do have quite a few Technic pieces though, especially these two sails that are on either side of the stern. But there were some great snot techniques and angles used throughout this build. This includes the doorways in the hold, which use a variety of brackets and snot bricks and tiles to blend in the various shades of wood. The rails along the bow remind me of the Tudor corner, which uses these 2x1 18-degree slopes and brackets to get that angle component to the dark red sections. Even along the back of the boat, there is some fairly elaborate snot work that allows you to show off this 2x4 rounded tile with two curled dragons on it. Further up the back are some snotted windows in the cabin, and there are lots of snot techniques used to make the red dragon that extends from the bow to the quarter deck. Beyond that, the angles used to create the ship without the prefab hulls were incredible. You've got this great angle to set the shape of the bow that clips into the main section of the hull. Then there's this subtle angling inward of the main hull itself, which uses some Technic pins to secure everything along with clips. The added benefit of building it this way is that the anti-studs could be used for various interior decorations that we'll talk about in a little bit. Even the very back of the ship uses some wedge plates and hinges to create a cool angle that continues the fundamental shape of the hull. Now, in terms of nice parts usage, this set uses a bunch of these 6x2x2 windscreens for a variety of purposes, including beds, part of the hull, and roofing. In fact, you get 20 of these pieces in black for the first time ever, and then you get some in white for just the second time. Other interesting pieces include the 6x2 inverted arches, the 6x1 and 4x1 slopes in black that are pretty recent. This printed dark blue 1x1 brick with dragons, it's making its second appearance in a LEGO set. This dark orange 5x5 macaroni brick with a plate on the inside, which looks really, really cool. The dark red 2x1 18-degree slopes that I've talked about earlier. These printed dark red tiles with mirrored dark azure dragons, really cool piece. The stockade doors are finally arriving in dark tan for the first time. Then there are these squiggly wave pieces in light aqua that I've not really seen before, but they are pretty new. These 1x5 red arches for just the second time. 1x1 slopes in red. Lots of these curved panels in reddish brown that only appeared in one prior set that are used throughout the entire hull. And these 4x1 curved slopes appearing for the 5th time in black and the first time in reddish brown. There's also this red dragon headpiece with dark red eyes and a white spiral line printed on it. It's just a great piece for those of you that are looking to build some custom dragons. Finally, there are these sails, which are soft and flexible, yet they feel like they're high quality. They are tan, and they have some dragon scales swirled in them. They have some printing on them. One of them actually spells out the word temple, while the other one spells out the word bounty. And these are excellent sails. I mentioned earlier, they're much better than the ones that I grew up with in the 1980s and 1990s. All told, this was a wonderful build, and if you're wondering why Ninjago continues to be such a great theme all these years after it started, well, it's because of sets like this, where the execution is at a very, very high level. The building techniques were great, the pieces are fantastic, and I actually had more fun building this than I did the Ninjago City workshops, which is interesting because the two sets were designed by the same person, Marcus Rohlbuehler, even though designed by the same person, I thought this was just a better set overall. Now, that person also designed the Tournament Temple City, which I thought was another excellent build. And so it's just another experience that I'm glad that I had putting this set together in the Ninjago theme. The final product is a nearly 2-foot long, 19-inch high, and about 10-inch deep set, which I think fits relatively well on some shelves, although the height might be an issue. There are multiple horizontal lines that run through the set, such as the red stripe toward the bottom of the hull, the dark red section just above that, even the red dragon. In addition, there is a lot of gold plating along the top of the railings and roofs that fit so well within the Ninjago theme. Near the bow is a small section with a sextant and some windows. There's really not much to it. The front window panes are missing and the back door is just a frame, so that was a little bit disappointing. But below that is a really cool training room that has weapons and a training dummy in it. Moving toward the stern, you can lift the stockade doors to reveal the main interior section, or you can just take off the whole roof section of the main mast. There's a fun little kitchen that's in there, complete with knives and a counter. Opposite that is a table with some food. You've got portraits and pictures adorning the walls, and you have some goblets and other trinkets on various shelving. In the back is a quarterdeck with a wheel that controls the ship and a small room with a telescope in it. There is a ladder that leads down to the captain's cabin, which has a table and a map, and a ledge with some writing supplies on it. You can lift the table to review some computerized controls and screens. That whole section then lifts off so that you can access the bunks, which have adjoining shelves with various useful items on them. At the very back is a gear that, when turned, opens the back sails. That's really the only main play feature, and it does remind me a little bit of that Dilophosaurus from the original Jurassic Park. This really is an impressive looking set, but how does it look next to the Ninjago city sets? The answer is that it looks great. It scales well with them, although they don't have enough open sea sections to take full advantage of the size of the Temple Bounty. But if you want to display it with the Ninjago city sets, one or all of them, or even build a huge ocean scene with all of these sets, plus maybe the Tournament Temple City, it would make for a great play experience as well as a fun looking display. Another nice element to this set is it does have a little display stand that you can use to help prop up the bow and make it look like it's sailing the high seas. But I also want to take a look at this set right here. This is a classic. We've got the Black Seas Barracuda, which came out in 1989. And as I was building this set, kind of reminded me of this one. It seemed like they were pretty similar sizes, so I thought I might just kind of pop them next to one another right here. So here we go. Let's take a look at how these look next to one another. I'm going to lift this off of the little display stand, give it a fair comparison. So there we go. In terms of height, this is the first time I'm really looking at these next to they're pretty close. This one just comes up a little bit higher, so maybe close to 19.5 to 20 inches. If we take a look at the depth of the ships, they're pretty equal, about that 8 to 10 inches. This one with these sails that are on either side of the stern, I think has a little bit more depth to it. And in terms of the length, we can take a look at this right here to see if there's any difference between the two, and honestly, they're pretty close. I would say that this one might have just a little bit more from this mast coming out here. So these are two pretty comparably sized sets, and I gotta say, one of the most impressive sets that I've ever built, especially given the pieces that were available at the time, is this Black Seas Barracuda right here. It's a fantastic classic castle set that is iconic for a reason. And in fact, it was remade in an idea set a few years ago with the Pirates of Barracuda Bay. So this was really cool to see them next to each other. And I think I might actually try to do a comparison of this with some other ships, including some more recent ones like the Pirates of Barracuda Bay, and maybe even that Black Pearl that is coming out in September. If you couldn't tell by the tone of this review so far, you probably know that I think pretty highly of this set. It was a great building experience. The minifigs, albeit only 6 of them, were still a very high level of execution. The pieces are fantastic. It looks great. I think it's going to look very good in any sort of Lego fleet that you have. And it just is a set that has not a lot of serious flaws to it. Add to that, you get 2,387 pieces and these 6 minifigs with some pretty large pieces with the sails and some of that stuff for $200. I think the price is pretty fair. I think you might be able to find this on discount at some point in the future, but if you wanted to go out and get this at the full retail price, I don't think you're getting gouged by Lego for this one. In fact, it's one of the few times I've said that all year, given all the price increases that we've seen across all sorts of themes. Now, who is this set for? I would say that it's certainly for Ninjago fans. If you're into Ninjago City, this is a really fun set to pair with those sets, as I showed you earlier. And even if you're just a fan of very, very well executed sets, incredible building techniques, and engaging building experience, something that's going to give you useful pieces and even some fun minifigs, this is the kind of set that you would enjoy. So I would say this is a set that for any adult or anyone, even 14 plus, that's got the money to spend on it, it's gonna go really, really well with your collection, even if you don't think you might be into Ninjago sets normally. So what would I rate this set? I'm gonna go with a 9.5 out of 10, and I don't give that rating out very lightly. I'm going to take about a half point off for a couple of minor reasons, including only 6 minifigs. I think a couple more would be great. I also was not a huge fan of the one large instruction manual. I do like the opportunity to try to build with the kids and Julia and have that more immersive family experience with one instruction manual. You can't really do that unless you want to pull out, an iPad or a phone or a laptop or something like that. And I really like building without a screen. So that's why I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10. It's a great, great set and one that I'm really glad that we were able to pick up. And I look forward to seeing how it will go with Ninjago City stuff in the future, as well as maybe our other ships that we've got, some of which aren't built. So we'll maybe build those and do a big comparison video. But thanks for watching. I hope you found this independent review useful, and always remember to keep building together.